Hey, Skid Steer Nation. It's Ryan Deemer here. This week's guest is a little bit different than a normal guest. We do not have a land company or excavation business owner on today. We actually have a content creator. This content creator has 1 million, 1 million followers on TikTok. He's gained over 40,000 followers on YouTube just in the last 30 days. His name is the Unhinged Rancher. Some of you've probably seen his videos. And I ran across him on a Facebook reel. I couldn't stop laughing, went to his page, checked it out, watched a bunch of videos. And I didn't know how or why it fit into the podcast, but I knew I wanted to interview him. So I reached out to him and we made it happen. So you guys are going to enjoy this. Little quick heads up. He is loud and brass and a little vulgar on his videos. We do talk about that. So there are moments in this show where the vulgarity is cranked up a little bit more than normal. So if you're watching this with kids and loved ones, you may want to wait until you have your headphones in. But it's going to be a fun interview. You guys are going to enjoy this one. Don't forget, it's brought to you by none other than skidsteernation.com, your home for high quality American-made skid steer attachments, and Throttle Up Marketing. So if you're looking to ramp up your business, get seen and visibility online, and just build one hell of a looking brand that you can pass off to contractors, homeowners, and whomever else, Throttle Up Marketing can help you out. All those links are down below, along with the links to the Unhinged Rancher. I hope you guys enjoy the show. Hey guys, it's Ryan. I got an amazing episode. I can't wait to share it with you today. We've got a special guest today. It is way outside our normal box. He's a ranch owner, content creator. He's got almost 1 million followers on YouTube, and most of his videos show cattle. So it's going to be a little bit different than operating a normal dirt business. But at the end of the day, running a ranch, running a social media business, there's the same lessons, the same principles apply. And it's the Christmas season. So let's have a little fun, break out a little bit, get away from the P&Ls and all the other data-driven metrics, and just have a little bit of fun today. I want to welcome the Unhinged Rancher to the show.
Good morning. No, it's morning. Good morning, everybody.
Yeah, so he's coming to us from the great state of Kansas. It's a snowy day. We were able to catch him on his lunch break. So I appreciate you joining the show today. I got to tell you, I saw a video of you using a disc mulcher on your skid steer. And it was, I think you called it the Tree Fucker 5000.
Yeah, that would be today I'm introducing the Tree Fucker 5000. So you just find a way to put a fun spin on what would typically be a monotonous project sitting in a skid steer.
Exactly. And I laughed so hard at it that I actually had to go look at your Facebook page. And then I found all your other reels and I kept laughing. And then finally I'm like, this guy's got a unique story. I don't know how it translates to Skid Steer Nation and to excavation landowners, but if nothing else, I'll guarantee you our audience could use your humor day to day to break the stress of owning a business. So there's something there.
There's a great entertainment factor to me, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. So we were talking before we started recording, and you started this Unhinged Rancher character, March of 2024?
Yeah, it would have been a March of 2024. I had a friend, and he's like, "Hey, you should make some TikToks." I think he was doing it at the time, and I'm like, "That's stupid. I ain't gonna do that." So there I was making a TikTok, doing it anyways. And within the first couple of videos, it just kind of took on a life of its own. So I just rolled with it.
So, and you just kept going. You didn't really have a plan, and you just like, I'll just make another video today.
Zero plan, zero knowledge of navigating most of social media for the most part. So I just dived in head first and found out what would happen. And it turns out I'm actually funny. And I wish I would have known that 10 years ago, because I'd probably be in a different position now. But it's great that I'm funny now. I could have used that earlier in life.
Yeah, right. So excuse me. Literally, the channel was started because a friend kind of pushed you to do it, and you, on a whim, just shot a video. What was your first video?
If you scroll back, I have a few funny videos on there prior to March or April of 24, but it was very sporadic, just a few random videos that, it was just kind of for fun, and then it became more for fun, and then it's monetized, and then you realize I can make money making these funny videos that don't take hardly any of my time. So I just kept building it, and it just still, even now, it's still growing almost astronomically.
Yeah, because one of the things I noticed was that your YouTube channel was lacking substantially compared to your TikTok following, like 40,000 and 930,000. And you were telling me that you literally just started doing YouTube a month ago. So you've seen almost 40,000 subscribers in 30 days.
Yeah. So I think I've had the YouTube channel for years, but I went through and I changed the name on it probably about a year and a half ago when the rest of this started. And I would just randomly post a video here and there, but I didn't put a whole lot of serious thought into it. And then I signed up with a management agency that does a lot of my Facebook and Instagram and all that. So that gave me some more time to focus on the YouTube. So in the last 30 days, I went from 2,500 subscribers to, I think it was at 41,000 this morning. So that was 30 days of, I can't even say it was a lot of effort. It was mostly minimal effort because I just took my videos that I'd already made, scheduled them to post. They post at 6 a.m. every day, and it's just kind of on autopilot. But it's really interesting to watch it grow, and you can learn what videos people like and interact with versus ones they don't want to watch. So you just kind of keep editing it to cater to that to keep the growth going.
Yeah, and I think this is something that I'm interested in. And I'm sure some of the people in the audience that are trying to do content would be interested in this too. But do you find that first 2 seconds is the most important?
Oh, absolutely. So if you don't catch somebody in the first 2 to 5 seconds in a video and they're like, oh, what's the rest of this about? No, it doesn't seem to do a whole lot. You know, there are people that their content is known for that you need to wait for it to take off, where mine will just scream at you right out the gate.
Yeah, I was actually looking through your TikTok channel, and I thought for sure I'd see an enormous amount of negative comments about you yelling at cattle or yelling at turtles. And like, people get your humor. Like, I didn't see nearly as much hate comments as I thought I would. I'm sure there's some buried in there because people just don't know how to shut up behind a keyboard. But
yeah, you scroll to the bottom, the very bottom, to the filtered comments, and you find a lot more of that. I've noticed more negativity on Facebook than I do on TikTok. I'm not sure it's just because maybe I'm just a little bit newer on there and people aren't quite used to it yet or not. But I did learn that if you're ever having a bad day, don't just go doom scrolling your own contents, because it's just going to make your day worse, because for some reason you're going to find all the negativity to it. So a lot of times I will go through my comments to a point, but if a video blows up and starts getting thousands of comments, like, I kind of don't start digging into it, because when a video gets that big, it tends to reach a group of people that may not like your content. And that's when a lot of the negative comments start rolling in. So I just mostly ignore that and continue on with my life. Like, I
have the same problem with some of our attachments. Like, we had a couple videos go viral of like our tree puller, and a majority of the comments were like, why are you ruining a good tree? That fish, we're using that for shade, like, whatever. But I do find that the algorithms are broken, because like, it's just looking for engagement, and it's not filtering positive versus negative engagement.
No, yeah, 100%. I mean, and even on that stuff, like, I don't feel like even the negative comments are negative, because even negative comments are positive engagement on your video. They're still engaging with your video and causing it to reach even further. And I see it when I catch that negativity is I have found an audience I probably don't belong in, but they're still watching it and they're still engaging with it. So there's still a value to that.
Yeah. So if you're cool with it, I'd like to just kind of like rewind a little bit. Did you grow up in the ranching world, or is it something that you migrated to on your own, or like, how did you end up getting to a point where creating the Unhinged Rancher was even an option?
So I've always been in the ranch industry and agriculture. You know, I grew up on a dairy farm in western South Dakota, and my dad worked on various ranches growing up. And we had a distant family that had a ranch in like northwestern South Dakota, Hardin County area. So I grew up around that, grew up in an agricultural community. So I've always kind of stuck with that. Now I've gone to work I've worked fast food, I've washed dishes, I've worked in the oil field, I've worked in mechanic shops, And I've worked all over the place, but it's always gravitated back towards ranching and agriculture. And I grew up with some of the grizzled old guys that, they're pretty coarse language, and that probably was imprinted on me. So when I get actually, before all this took off, if I'd actually get mad, I would cuss like that. But for the most part, that was just only when I was actually mad. And it turns out if I just cuss like that all the time and open a camera, then evidently people seem to think that's pretty awesome. I don't know.
Yeah. And how did you end up in Kansas?
So I ended up here. I was managing a Facebook page. It was actually the Cow Hands for Hire Facebook page once upon a time. And I was looking to get out of where I was at. I was working for an HVAC company in Nebraska, and I was looking to get out of that. It was kind of just a transition. And a company reached out to me that had purchased a large ranch in western Kansas and asked me to manage it for them. So they basically dropped me off and said, good luck, treat it like it's your own, and we'll see you on the other side. So yeah, it's a lot to be put on one person, especially at that age. When I was only in my early 20s when I took this over, and it was quite a learning experience to start with, to have a large ranch just kind of not given to you, but entrusted to you to manage and operate correctly. So that's how I ended up down here. Was I would say a once in a lifetime job opportunity.
Yeah, that's amazing. And are you still a one-man band, or do you have some hired help with you?
I'm still basically a one-man band. It's I'll get some help during shipping and weaning. My wife will help if we need it, moving pairs or in the middle of calving or something like that. But for the most part, it's just me on the everyday, day-to-day stuff.
How many head of cattle are you got running around there?
So I typically calve out anywhere from 11 to 1,200 cows by myself. We'll have at the peak of calving, 1st of April area, I'll be calving anywhere from 50 to 70, tagging 50 to 70 calves a day by myself, along with feeding and fixing anything they broke or anything they fucked up the day before, taking the time to just keep everything going. Some days you get shorter days, and there's a lot of days where it's 12, 14, 16-hour days.
Oh, I can only imagine, especially being one person.
Yeah. So I put in a lot of hours year round, but, during the calving season window, is from cows typically come back middle of February, start calving 1st of March, and we'll calve all the way up until, the beginning of May. So there's 90, 100 days in there where I work 12, 14 hours a day for 100 days straight, not a day off. And you can't take a day off, because if you take one day off, it's going to fuck up the whole thing, and you're going to have a really bad day the next day.
Yeah, they're not going to hold in the calves just because you're not working.
They don't wait for weather. They don't wait for holidays. They don't wait for days off. It never ends.
Yeah, and I'm going to guess that just by law of nature that the worst weather days are the busiest calving days.
Yeah, that usually seems to be the case. There's been multiple times. It seems like we always get hit with a big blizzard. Big spring blizzard during calving. This time of year we catch small snows and it's just cold, but we'll get big wet blizzards during calving, and that turns into, you're up for, could be 2-3 days just bringing calves in, keeping calves alive, getting them kicked back out to the cows. If you got to plow snow to get to the cows, I got to go out, I got to plow snow, I got to come back, I got to get the tractor, and just go back and forth, and, just keep going. Till the sun shines on the other side.
Yeah, you had. I'm gonna hack the saying up. Hopefully, you'll pick up and say it for me. But you're basically saying to my assistant on the little sheet we asked you to fill out, work so hard that you don't have time to fuck around.
Yeah, no, that's in my younger years. I had too much time on my hands, and I did fuck around, and I did find myself in an incredible amount of trouble. There was several points in my life where I had prison sentences hanging over my head because I had my head shoved so far up my ass. I don't know if I didn't care or just didn't give a shit or what it was. And when I came down here, I absolutely sunk myself into this ranch and into this job and did not go anywhere, did not do anything, and worked every day until I was so fucking tired that I didn't have time or energy to go do anything else.
Yeah. it can fix a lot of problems. Hard work.
Yeah, hard work, and you don't have time to be go out and do dumb shit. You don't have time to do anything but get the job done, get sleep, get back up the next day, and do it again. And then you just do that over and over again, and that straightened me out, and that got me to where I am today. When I moved down here, everything I owned fit in the bed of my pickup. And a pickup that I was like 6 months behind on payments. I didn't even have a bed. And I went through Hayes, Kansas, and there was a bed in an alley. And I picked the bed up out of the alley, threw it in the back of my pickup because that was my bed. I mean, I didn't have any money. I didn't have anything.
Wow. I mean, I'm hearing so you've got children now, right?
Yep. I have a daughter who is 5 in kindergarten, and after a week off for Thanksgiving, she was absolutely thrilled to go back to school this morning.
I can only imagine. But I just a question for you: are these lessons from your younger days? Are they going to be remembered as your daughter gets older? Because I just see a lot of guys that had a hard childhood coddle their kids, and then they wonder why their kid keeps doing dumb kid things.
Yeah, no. So for the longest time, a lot of the shit I did when I was younger, almost felt like an embarrassment. I didn't want to remember it. I didn't want to talk about it. I want to pretend like it never happened. And then over the last handful of years, it's come to a realization that, that maybe not something I should be proud of, but it's all those trials and tribulations and everything that I've done that have brought me to where I am today, no matter how shitty it was. Without those moments and those lessons that I actually learned from and didn't have to do more than 2 or 3 times, that got me to where I am today. And I believe that it has shaped my life in such a way that it will 100% carry on into, my children and even friends and people around me.
Yeah. I find that I agree with you. Like, everyone kind of hides the not perfect or the less than stellar moments in their life till they get to a certain age, I typically find. And then it's like, whatever, that's not who I am today anymore.
Everybody has a past, whether you want to be proud of it or not, you need to own it.
Right. But again, like, just by speaking about it, like, the people around you feel more connected to you because you're open and honest. There's lessons that hopefully people are listening and taking away, whether you're aware of it or not. And, like, nothing's memorable and nothing leaves an imprint that happens easy and good.
Yeah, no, I believe I wouldn't be here where I am today if everything just came easy and simply and didn't have to work for it. And I can say I've worked incredibly hard to change my life for the better, to be where I am today. Yeah.
I say it all the time. There's a reason rehabs are filled with trust fund kids. They have too much time on their hand.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you ever feel like you're in a bad position or you're not getting where you want to be in life or finding yourself in trouble, go get a job where you break your fucking back 12 hours a day. Go dig trenches. Go shovel. I mean, I did that. I dug water lines and shoveled out water lines after trenches, it's 12-inch trench collapse, by hand. Work your ass off. Work until you don't have any time left to do anything else.
Yeah, I don't have a 1,200 head ranch sitting in my backyard, so I've had to modify. So I recently, probably the last 2-3 months, I've gotten re-addicted to going to the gym because that's that hard pressure where, you don't want to do that last rep. You don't want to do the next set. And you're like, nope. And it's like forcing yourself to do something uncomfortable.
Right. And, it doesn't, I guess it doesn't always have to be, hard work or this or that, but like finding something that you are absolutely passionate about that you can devote 100% of yourself to, whether that be hard work or whether that be the gym or, some people, hell, it could be painting or cooking or something like that. But, I think everybody out there has a passion like that. They just have to find it and devote the time and energy to it.
Yeah. Did you go through a process to find your passion, or it just kind of like happened?
I've always wanted to be, in ranching and agriculture, and I grew up around it. And that's just kind of what I always naturally gravitated back to. So, I mean, I've done a bunch of other jobs, but I was never fulfilled or satisfied or whatever you want to call it. And anytime I'd go back to cattle and ranching and just being outdoors is where I always wanted to be.
Yeah. There's something about being outdoors, especially as a man. I think our hearts are called to it. Yeah,
I could not imagine, being in an office all day or working indoors, all day. Whether it's, I don't like the heat. I hate the heat more than anything. I like the cold. I'd rather be outside at 30 below chopping ice out of a water tank than sitting in the house nice and cozy. I mean, I love just anything outdoors, any physical work and any creative work too. So,
yeah. Speaking of creative, how do you come up with the idea for some of your videos? I'm assuming some of them are just like you see the moment and you're like, aha. But some of your videos, like you had to think about those and come up with the idea.
Yeah. So yeah, some of them are just the aha moment, and it's just a perfect timing that it works. But also doing what I do, you have an incredible amount of time doing everything by yourself. So you're alone in your head a lot. So, and I'm a very creative person. I'm always building things and creating things and building, tools and things that I can use, and even, skid steer attachments and stuff like that. So I've always been an extreme daydreamer and an overthinker about virtually everything that I do. So, no matter what I'm doing, there's some scenario playing out in my head, or some thought of how I could make this funny or how I could make something else funny. There's 300 thoughts bouncing in my head. So people see my videos, they're like, oh, he's recording this one-handed while tagging a calf while yelling. Well, the part you can't see is all the crap going on in my head, thinking of, hey, how can we do this again? Or what can we do in the next video or something like that? So it probably just comes with probably being about half crazy and spending too much time by myself.
That's fair. Well, I'll tell you what, there was one video that you did, and you could definitely tell you had some thought into the process of making this one. And in fact, I'm going to play a little clip of it right now so that the people watching and listening can see it.
Introducing the M18 window deleter for all them pesky windows that are in your way. Wow, look at that. They could probably use that in Detroit. Also perfect for holding twisted tees exactly where you want them. Mouse included in every purchase. Wow, look at that. Have you ever had a tire that has too much air in it? Then I have the solution for you. Wow, look at that. Also perfect for auto body work on your piece of shit Silverado. That is fixed. Look at that. It also works for draining radiators. Wow, look at that. Pull that plug out, ready to drain. Here, piggy, 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 piggy. Daddy wants some bacon today. Come here, piggy, piggy. No cup holder in your truck while bumping Little Wayne driving down back roads to hold your beer? Wow, look at that. A way to hold your 5-gallon bucket up while you're using your other hands to do other stuff? Wow, look at that. Out of ammo for target practice? Well, I got you covered. Wow, look at that. Wow, another tire with too much air in it. Can't have that happening. Wow, look at that. Oh no, now your tire doesn't have enough fucking air? We can fix that. Wow, look at that. That's fixed. Has your weather stripping come loose? Fixed. Wow, look at that. Ma, get the fryer ready. I found Thanksgiving dinner. Get back here, you motherfucker. I'm gonna eat you.
Where in the world did you come up with the idea of using your Milwaukee electric staple gun to fix? And I mean, I was dying laughing.
I don't honestly. I was out working on fence. There's been a couple of those videos. I think he's out there stapling up fence wires, and you always think to yourself, man, this has got to be the handiest tool I've ever purchased in my life, because I can't tell you how many times I've smashed a thumb or a finger with a hammer or a pair of fencing pliers. So you're out there just stapling wires back up on fence posts, driving in between fence posts or walking. I get the idea. I'm like, wow, it'd be fun to shoot a beer can with this. You shoot a beer can, you're like, oh, I can make an entire video out of this really fast. So you just start stapling shit together and shooting staples, and I don't know.
It was your catchphrase after you did it every time that had me rolling. Fixed it.
Yeah, well, look at that. Fixed.
Yeah.
So
I was rolling.
I junkyard and stuff here too, and I think I was hauling something up there, and the staple gun was sitting in the back seat, and I hadn't posted anything in a while. And I'm like, what am I going to post for a video? And I happened to look in the back seat, and the staple gun was sitting there. I'm like, well, I hope I got a battery because we're going to make something work. And there was some outtakes and stuff on that where the staple wouldn't go into something. But yeah, you just wander around and just let your imagination run wild.
Yeah. Yeah, when you did it for body work, that section of the body work where you just take a piece of tin or whatever you have laying around and staple to the side of the truck, you're like, fixed it. I was like, oh my God, this is...
Yeah, I mean, it's probably the incredible amount of either ADD or ADHD, or if I have them both, I have no idea. That is the brainchild of most of the things I come up with.
Yeah. Yeah, because the cattle videos to me are great, right? And especially when they get in the water trough, I could watch those all day. That young calf that was stuck in the water trough, but you had the fence in there, so they weren't supposed to jump in it, and it was just running around in a circle.
Yeah, it just became a merry-go-round for calves, basically. And get some people like, oh, you should do this to keep them out, and you should do this to keep them out. Well, they don't realize that if you do too much to keep them out, they really get stuck in there, and it's really hard to get them out. So it's usually just easier just to leave the rail up or not have a rail at all and just let them get in there. 9 times out of 10, they do get out on their own. The other 10% of the time, yeah, you got to get the calf out of there or something like that. But yeah, there's no easy solution to that. So you just make the best of a stupid situation and record a video every time it happens. And I probably could have recorded 10 times as many videos because you drive by a tank and you'll see a calf and you go to swing over there. By the time you get there, the calf already jumps out. So you're like, well, that could have been a bit. So yeah, it's a never ending thing.
Yeah, I'm sure. And I really like the gimmick you've got, that how dare you be on my ranch without a tag.
Yeah, that was last year. I didn't really get into that one a whole lot this year. It kind of goes in phases on what's hitting and what's not on social media. So that was last year, where I just basically yelled at everything for not having an ear tag on the ranch, because you want all your cows to have ear tags. So logically, maybe everything should be ear tagged at that point. So turtles, chickens, birds, pheasants, eagles, just tag everything.
Yeah. It was the video of you and the turtle that had me rolling, because like you get it out, you're yelling at it, and then the very end of it, you tape a tag to his shell. And I was like, oh God, that's hilarious.
So I didn't want to actually write on a turtle or paint a turtle or anything like that. I want to actually hurt a turtle. So I figured the easiest way to do it was with a sticker and a piece of tape, or tape an ear tag to it, and have the video pull it off or whatever. But I mean, yeah, you can't just have a bunch of unnamed turtles wandering around the ranch. Although sometimes I'm pretty sure it's like the same 5 turtles that I'm constantly messing with, but they're good sports. They don't seem to mind.
Yeah. How long into this venture did you realize that you had like a business on your hands? Because since then you've launched a store, the unhingedrancher.com. You've got some hats, shirts, Yeti, a couple things out there. Like, when was the moment you're like, we're not utilizing the platform enough?
So that probably only came in the last, probably half a year. I didn't, finally realize that there might be more to this. I'm with an agency now. The agency reached out to me. We worked out a deal, and they're like, we see a lot of opportunity and growth available here, and we're willing to help you with that and make that work. They take a percentage, and it's reasonable. I'm okay with it, but I hadn't really put a whole lot of thought into it until an agency reached out to me to help me with some of that stuff. And they're like, there's a lot more you could do here and a lot more available. And I think we could really grow this. I'm like, you know what? I'm all for it. Let's go head first into this and see what happens. Because if nothing happens and it all falls apart, nothing really changes for me. I just go back to life as normal, yelling at cows inside my head versus recording it. I'm not out anything, so why not dive into it head first and see what happens?
Sure. I love that. Let's hypothetically say it starts taking off and it starts working. Do you have a vision for where you would like to see it to go in the future, like 3 to 5 years from now?
Nope. I'm just writing it for what it wants to do and where it wants to go. And, if it keeps growing and I become a brand name or something like that, and, they want me to start traveling and, doing stuff like that, I'm all for that. Obviously that will affect, what I do now. But like I discussed with them, I said, if we want to do this, in the future, if you want me to go someplace and do something, that'll be like from October to February. I do some traveling and do some stuff then. But in the meantime, the rest of the year, I want to just keep doing what I'm doing. Like, I couldn't imagine, unless it was like an astronomical amount of money, I don't plan any plans on quitting what I'm doing, like as my normal day job.
No, I don't think you should either, right? But I mean, I just look at some opportunities for that as like affiliate partners or whatnot.
Well, and that's the funny thing, I've had people like, well, has anybody reached out to you to do like an affiliate partnership or anything like that? And I'm like, nope. Haven't had anybody reach out to me for any of that stuff. Maybe like the TikTok shop trying to sell a Chinese screwdriver or something like that. But as far as like an actual like national brand reaching out to me to do something, I don't know if some of my videos seem off-putting or my language seems off-putting or what it is. But no, even when it comes to like a podcast, you were actually the first person to reach out to me to want to do a podcast. That hasn't asked and then blown me off.
I'm shocked by that.
Yeah, I don't know, and I'm more than willing to do that stuff. And this being my first one, I enjoy this, and I'm hoping there's more of that in the future. But I'm not quite sure what turns those people off. A while back, I had a company reach out to me, and they do the bucket bunkers for skid steers. And he was their PR guy out of Nebraska, and he reached out to me. We called, we talked, we emailed, we texted, and then I never heard anything back. Won't even return a text, won't answer a phone call, nothing. So I don't know what that was about. Like, maybe the people who own Bucket Bunker didn't want to deal with that. But I found it really rude to ghost somebody like that because I wouldn't do that to somebody else.
I guess my first question would be, are we sure he's still an employee of the company?
Well, I don't know that 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure either. So, but they were like a PR marketing team for Bucket Bunker and a bunch of other stuff or something like that. So, I just wrote it off. I'm like, well, whatever. I'll just continue on with my life. Like, it's not a heartbreaking deal for me. Something better come in the future. Well, we'll roll with that.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I was still running manufacturing companies where I had as a dealer, we only have so much margin and they're really not my products. Yes, we've tested them and obviously I'd buy them. I bought many of them myself. But for me to be like, hey, I want to send you these 5 attachments, like it's just not in our budget as a dealer.
Right. Yeah. And, I talked to Glenn Danuser a while back with Danuser and stuff like that too. And, they'd send me something to use it and make a video and then, do like a discount on it, which is great because, a discount on a piece of equipment is great. Free stuff is greater, but I'm not out there asking for free stuff from people. Like if somebody wants to reach out to me and make a deal, that's great. I'm not the kind of person to reach out and be like, well, why can't I get this for free? Or I'm going to charge you $10,000 to make this video. No. I think all that stuff needs to happen mutually and organically, not forced, because I don't think anybody's going to enjoy it if, here's this piece of equipment, we want this video, here's your script. I don't think I can sell something if you want me to script it and make it your way. I mean, I got to be able to put my own spin on it.
No, absolutely. I think that's why, smaller companies would be a great fit for you, right? People that have like unique inventions or unique ideas solving a problem that haven't quite hit mainstream yet. Right.
Yeah. And obviously I could sell a Chinese wrench extender or I don't know how many people I had reach out and actually email me about the rotary mulcher. I'd be like, what is this and where do you find it? I'm actually interested in it. So I just sent him the details. I think that was a diamond or blue diamond or whatever that one was.
Well, it's definitely, it was definitely a diamond. I could tell by the shape and the disc that was on it.
Yeah. So I'm like, I could sell stuff, but you got to be able to let me put my own spin on it and, not be afraid of weird marketing, which in this day and age on social media, I mean, you've seen the White House's account, Nutter Butter, Slim Jim, all those accounts are getting incredibly weird, but it's working for them. So,
well, I think we're reaching a tipping point with all of the creators that weird is the new norm because everyone's trying to stand out in a sea of content creators.
Right. Yeah. It's not the same as, me sitting on YouTube 10 years ago watching, this video or that video or something like that. No, it's completely shifted to something completely different now.
Yeah, it just keeps shifting farther and farther. I would love to see you find a product that actually solves one of your main problems. Like let's say hypothetically there's a product out there that actually keeps cattle out of the water trough.
Yeah, see something like that, that would be
and
huge.
then your whole video is you yelling at the product like, God damn it! Now who the fuck am I going to yell at if there's no cattle in the fucking water truck?
Yeah, that's actually a really good idea. I like that. Instead of me yelling at the cows, now I'm either yelling at the product for doing too good of a job, or yelling at it. Well, now what am I going to yell at and do all day now that you're doing the job and yelling at a robot or a piece of equipment?
Yeah, because how do you extend your brand outside of the specific ranch things you're doing? Because if you take this to the public, you're going to get chastised, right? You can't be yelling at the gas station attendant and the waitress, or
Yeah, I can't just wander around in public or go to the NFR and just berate people randomly on the street. Although that would probably get views as well. But
it would. But even if you staged it, it's still the perception of you being what an asshole yelling at everybody in the street.
Yeah. I mean, people call me an asshole yelling at cows. They'll probably really call me an asshole yelling at random
people. Yeah. So you said the agency reached out to you. You didn't go look for an agency to help you.
Right.
Is that correct?
No, I typically, don't reach out to anybody. I'm kind of an extrovert, kind of an introvert. I enjoy doing this stuff, but I enjoy doing it by myself. And they reached out to me and we talked back and forth, and I was ultimately paranoid that it was a scam and they were trying to steal all my account access, and was worried that obviously it seems like everything you find online, or 3/4 of it's a scam of some sort. So my first thought was this is a scam, but we'll see where it goes and see what happens or whatever. But, and when I talked with them, sign the contract, you got to give them all your account details. You got to give them all your passwords. You got to let them into all your accounts to see everything. And that's a very, very nerve-wracking thing to do when at this point I had kind of built a brand and I was making some money at it. And you're like, man, I hope this isn't a scam. And somebody's just going to steal all of my crap. But it turned out not. And, they got me monetized on Facebook, and they built this website for me with merchandise that we just kind of soft launch there on Friday. We haven't really done any advertising or stuff with it yet. So, I feel like it was a leap on their part because they hadn't really reached into things like this. And it was a leap on my part because I was fairly unwilling to do it. But I'm like, okay, well, maybe this is a lot bigger than I think it's going to be. And they see that and they can help me get it there.
Right. Well, I think whoever did your merchandise and your logo, I love your logo, on your sweatshirt that you've got there.
Yeah. So that was just me with Microsoft Paint on the computer last year when this first started. So when this first started, I just had my face on there. And I'm like, okay, I want to make a hard separation between me and my brand or whatever. So that was just Microsoft Paint, and we come up with a brand or a logo or whatever. And I think the back of this sweater, it's got a cow.
Where's your tag?
And that was me. We actually don't even have that on merchandise. These were one-off sweaters that I have. But that company has done a phenomenal job with that website, unhingedrancher.com. They've done an incredible job with it. And I was really thoroughly impressed. And it gives me a lot of hope and give those guys a lot of commendations for the work they're putting in on that side.
Yeah, well, you're going to have a customer today because I'm buying a hat after this interview. I think
there you go.
Sweet.
There's hats, there's hoodies, there's cups. I'm supposed to have I don't have any of that stuff on hand at the moment. I'm waiting on a package that's supposed to be here today with the first samples so I can make some content and stuff with them. So
I think you need an ear tag keyring.
Yeah. So I talked to a couple of our feedlots and stuff like that we work with. And I said, hey, next time you guys run cows through, because they always cut out the ear tags to retag them when they go into the feedlot. I'm like, put all those tags in a 5-gallon bucket for me. I want all those back. Because I'm like, I'll just sign the back of them and sell to people as keychains or whatever, tags that are just going to get thrown away in the first place. So I'm like, I can make money off of garbage.
Listen, there's a lot of businesses that started that way.
Yeah. And, I think I sold one ear tag. Somebody messaged me, said, hey, I want to buy an ear tag with your brand and your signature on it. So I just hand wrote my brand and signed the back of it. I think it was $20 for that ear tag. I'm like, I can literally get thousands and thousands and thousands of ear tags for nothing because they just throw them away. I'm like, that'd be phenomenal. Right. I could maybe make a fortune off of garbage here. So I try to think about stuff like that, doing this as well. I'm like, okay, how can we make some money doing this? And, I want to make this work for me. I want to use the monetization value that I've made off of this to pay off my own personal debt. I want to pay off all my debt. At that point, I want to just invest everything. I want to, go to a financial advisor and whatever I make off it, just invest it. So if something were to ever happen to me or my brand or something like that, like I've kind of got a financial security and a financial future there.
Yeah, so I'm not I love that.
Some people that you see on there and like, oh, I went and bought a brand new car, or I went and bought a old muscle car, or side-by-sides, or all sorts of stuff like that. No, I'm very, very frugal when it comes to spending. I'm kind of a tight ass.
Well, most of our audience is probably a tight ass, being business owners. And I can't tell you how many guys I've talked to in this industry. I mean, between Skid Steer Nation, the marketing business, and the podcast, it's a lot. But I can't tell you how many guys reinvest 50 to 80% of their profits back into their business for equipment, training. I mean, they're living a pretty meager personal lifestyle while trying to grow one hell of a brand.
Right. And we have some attachments that we've bought over the years because, it just worked out or whatever. But there's also a whole pile of crap that I've built because I'm like, I can build that cheaper than I can buy it. Go look at something similar. Within a day or two, have the same thing basically built, sitting on the floor for 1/10 the price. So, yeah. I mean, I like building shit too, so it works out.
I don't know where you have time for that, but
well, if you don't spend a whole lot of time sleeping, you have all sorts of extra time.
You get all sorts of extra time. I love it, man. I love it. Oh, man. So if you were talking to, I don't know, mid-late 20s, maybe 30-year-old, thinking about starting a business, I mean, granted, I know you're running a ranch and you've got the social channel. It's not quite identically the same, but you've got to have some lessons in your life that you would pass along to people that if they were to ask you, like, what are like some things I need to be aware of, or where do you think I should focus my attention? I
mean, first thing, you need to make sure that you are absolutely passionate about it, not just doing this on a whim and you're going to get bored with it in a week, especially starting a business or whatever, because that's going to become not just a huge part of your life. It's going to become your entire life for a while if you're serious about it. So you want to make sure that you are absolutely passionate about it and you're 100% committed to it. And you're going to lose friends. You're going to lose people who you thought were friends, but they're not as committed to it, that dream. If they're not as committed to that dream as you are, then maybe that's not somebody you need in your life. Don't let people hold you back because, they don't approve of that, or they don't believe in you, or you're afraid you're going to lose a friendship. I don't believe in that. I believe you should pursue your own dreams and your own happiness over anybody else's.
Yeah, I find that majority of people pull you down because if they let you go up, then they have to look themselves in the mirror and realize that they're the only reason they're not moving forward.
Yeah, it seems like, a lot of those people, they don't want to see you succeed. You have probably an incredible amount of people in your life, you don't realize it, that don't care to see you succeed. Would just see you languish exactly where you're at without moving forward. Stay down here with me where it's comfortable and we don't have to put in any effort.
Yeah, but just be very cognitive. They don't care if it's you or the next person. They don't want anyone to succeed because then that makes them feel comfortable. It's always self-driven. It's never actually against you as a person.
Right. They don't have the drive to succeed and make something of themselves, but for some reason they have the drive to try to keep you down and not see you succeed. Like if they would put that effort into literally anything else in their life, they could probably also succeed. But instead, they're just negative assholes that just want to see you fail or stay exactly where you're at.
Yeah. I always say that about thieves and hackers. I'm like, some of these people are so good at what they do. And I'm like, imagine if I just took that same energy and drive and just made it into a project that actually benefited people. How successful could they be?
Yeah, and, I've always liked the saying or the phrase that, I mean, if you want to be successful, you need to surround yourself with successful people. Because if you surround yourself with 5 worthless drunks or crackheads or negative people, you're just going to be right there with them.
Yeah, I always say I'll show you 6 in 90 days.
Yep. So, yeah, I don't know. Passion and being driven. I mean, you can't half-ass these things either. I mean, you need to commit yourself to them. If you want to see it work and you want to see it succeed, you can't half-ass it.
Yeah. And a question I have for you, and we kind of relate it to your channel a little bit. Excuse me. How willing are you to try new things? Because I find that a lot of business owners, like if one thing works, they don't want to change it, but that's probably the thing that's holding them back too.
Right. So like my agents work with me with that sound. They're like, hey, try this, or let's see, what happens if we do this and whatever. And I've learned that with, especially TikTok, there's a lot of fads where something works for a while, but then one day for no particular reason, it's going to quit working and you need to pivot and do something else or try something else. Or, I first started out for the first 6 months, all I did was yell at cows. And then one day I yelled at a turtle. And one day I started showing some of the stuff that I build and the things that I make and ideas that I come up with. So it's a constant evolving process. You can't just stick on one track or have a one-track mind on it. You got to be able to pivot and adjust and, like I said, try new things, do different stuff. I made a video the other day with me wearing a mop on my head, pretending to be a woman at a stove for a 3-second clip on a video, whatever. I'm not afraid of making an ass out of myself on the internet, because what's the worst that happens? That video doesn't do great and somebody laughs at you. Oh no, somebody laughed at you on the internet. Big whoop-de-doo. You continue on and you keep doing it, but it makes people laugh, even if it is stupid stuff like that. And you never know. You can try something different that is stupid, and it absolutely blows up for no reason. So you're like, hey, look at that. I tried something new and it worked out great. So let's keep rolling with that until the next thing comes along. Don't be embarrassed, to try something different. Even if you fail, that's a lesson that you learned from, and you can use that in the future.
Yeah. How long did it take you to actually put yourself on camera?
It took quite a while. So you look at a lot of my previous videos, it did take quite a while to be comfortable enough to record myself and not say every 6 seconds while trying to record something. And I do use a teleprompter occasionally to keep me on track when I have like a really fast-paced something I'm trying to say or whatever. But since then, I've become a lot more comfortable on camera, a lot more, I don't know how you want to put it. I don't know. Things just seem to flow a lot easier. So like this today is probably slightly above my comfort level because I have never talked to another person through a computer before. So this is something new for me.
Okay. Because I always tell people, especially with any small business, you're the face of that company. So your videos and your pictures should not be of your truck and your equipment. It should have you talking through what you're doing, talking through your day, explaining the problem, explaining the solution.
Yeah.
And yes, your first video is going to suck. Your 10th video is going to suck, but your 100th video is going to look pretty good.
Yeah. And as you do it more and you get more comfortable doing it, it comes a lot easier. So you look at, obviously, a lot of my early videos, I just never showed my face. And even now, a year and a half into this, enough people have watched like my earlier videos. They'll catch a new video and they see me in it. They're like, holy crap, that's you? I've never seen your face before. Even though I've probably had hundreds of videos with my face on it, it doesn't always just show up in order anywhere.
Right. Well, yeah, because I'm assuming your most popular videos on TikTok, when I clicked on the filter for most popular, they're probably some of the older videos.
Right. It's older videos that be yelling at like cows in water tanks, or
so you're not in any of them,
or calving or something like that. So
yeah, so you're not in any of them.
No. So we will catch the most popular videos and still not realize that there's a face behind it.
Yeah, because like some of your videos are like 12 million views.
There's a handful of them that are between probably 7 and 12 million views. I've even got, I think, a couple on YouTube in the last month that are 5 to 7 million views in YouTube in the last 30 days. That that whole thing's kind of blown up and taken off, and it's kind of exciting. I'm really after the 100,000 follower trophy, or the plaque that they'll give you on YouTube. My agent,
you're probably only 2 months away from it.
Yeah, I mean, it could easily be 2 months away from it, or something weird could happen and go a lot worse. My agents asked, "What are you going to do with that?" I'm like, "I'm going to wear it around my neck on a chain like Flava Flav for a while, because I'll be super excited about it."
I think that's fantastic. In a great, unique way, fitting for you, right? Like you're going to engineer and hack something to hold it around your neck, and it's not going to be
exactly. It'll probably make several appearances in a bunch of my videos for a while, and then it'll probably get put on a shelf. But I know I set myself goals all the time, and I'll compare myself to other accounts and other channels and stuff like that too. It's like I'm in a competition with them, but they don't know about the competition. Like I'll just see a channel like, I want more followers or subs than that guy. Well, then I beat it, so you just set yourself a new goal. They don't know. They don't have to know they're not competing against you. I mean, that's just a good way to set goals for yourself.
100%. Yeah, and you have to have goals.
Yeah, you can't just, I don't know. I'm very goal oriented, so and pretty competitive when it comes to stuff like that. Even though nobody knows I'm competing against them, it's still entertainment value for me. So,
yep, absolutely. So I think social media is severely, grossly underserved by business owners from an actual good use point of view, like we were talking about, like getting a camera out, recording yourself, raw content, uploaded. Like what were some tips or tricks you would tell a business owner that is on the fence for starting to put himself on camera for his company?
It's kind of been, surprising for as big as, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, all those social media platforms are, especially with their short form videos, how many companies still haven't really branched out into that. And, don't be afraid to put yourself out there, and I know there's a lot of people out there, they're just goofy, fun people, but you stick them in front of a camera and they just lock up and, experiment with it. Don't be afraid to post a goofy video representing your company or your brand. You never know what it could do. It's absolutely crazy what people will just get so involved watching with. They'll follow you along and follow your company or your brand and want to know more about you. I did all this on a whim just because it sounded like it might be fun, and it's grown into whatever the hell it is today. Just because, I made some dumb videos or I yelled at something, don't be afraid to just put yourself out there. You're not going to get, for the most part, you're not going to get negative feedback on it. So if somebody calls you dumb or your video's stupid, don't feel bad about it. Just make another one and keep going with it. Have fun.
They think your video's dumb. I always tell them, I said, the only people think your video's dumb because they feel insignificant, that they don't have the strength to create their own. Right.
They don't have the strength or I'm missing lack of a word here. But yeah, they're just afraid to do it themselves, and so they're going to rain on your parade.
Drag you back down to their level is what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's some great advice, man. Yeah. If you guys get a chance, his website's unhingedrancher.com. Go find him on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. Same thing, Unhinged Rancher. And go enjoy some great videos. He's got some really fun content.
Laugh at ridiculous stuff. Maybe not watch it with all of your children there. Maybe do. Maybe you want your kids to learn some exotic cuss words. I can help you with that too.
Yeah, you've done a really good job of using like the F word as a noun, verb, and adjective in the same sentence.
Yeah, I think my best video, it was like 62 times in 60 seconds that I used fuck. I don't even know that was possible, but it turns out it is.
But I did it. We're calling Guinness World Records tomorrow. See if that thing works.
I haven't got a trophy for that one yet, but there's always hopes in the future that I can throw a few more F-bombs in there and spice it up some more.
There you go. Competition with yourself. Shoot for 70.
Yeah. Or find the most ridiculous drill sergeant slurs that you can come up with. You got 2 brain cells fighting for 3rd place and everybody's losing. I have no idea where I come up with that. I have no clue. It just came out of my mouth and it went on the internet.
Oh, God, that's so funny. I'll tell you what, and this is off topic, but I just feel compelled to share it with you. The funniest thing I had heard in a long time, this old timer was overseeing these kids build a chicken coop. And imagine kids today trying, exactly what you imagine, right?
Yeah.
The old boy goes, I don't know how to spell imbecile, but I sure can see it.
That's pretty good. I might have to borrow that one.
I was like, did I just hear that right? I had to go rewind it.
Yeah, and I think some of the stuff that I come up with, you don't have, there ain't enough gas. If brains were gasoline, you wouldn't have enough to drive a piss-ass go-kart around a Cheerio. I heard somebody say that when I was a kid, and it's just stuck with me ever since. And I've always thought it was hilarious, and I've never heard anybody else say it. So I'm like, I need to try to remember more of that stuff. So I think that's where a lot of it comes from is, the older generation, like grandparents or great uncles, yelling at me for being a fucking idiot and just trying to remember what they told me in the moment.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, I can't thank you enough for taking your lunch break and sharing it with us today and telling us your story. And I've thoroughly enjoyed every minute of our conversation today.
Yeah, it was great to be on here, and I think this was a great podcast to have as my first podcast, and I really thank you very much for that. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, you're very welcome. So, guys, again, check out the Unhinged Rancher. Also, by the way, it's Christmas season, and nobody buys Christmas gifts for you better than you. And most of you probably need a skid steer attachment. So head over to skidsteernation.com and get your next attachment before the new year. Until next week, guys, take care.